Hey, what's up? It's Dan Liu. In this video, I'm going to share a little bit about my first paid funnel project, what went well, what didn't go well, the mistakes I made, and hopefully I can share some insight in helping you on your journey and hopefully help you avoid some of the mistakes that I personally made. So my first project came after I had helped somebody by doing some free work for them. So I built them a couple funnels. It was an acupuncturist that I was referred to by my actual acupuncturist, one that I was actually paying for. And so I was talking to her about, the projects I was working on or the skills and funnels. And so she referred me to another acupuncturist of hers or a friend of hers that was also an acupuncturist. So, this person was kind of into online marketing a little bit, has definitely tried a lot of things and but never really tried funnels. So when I shared the concept with him, he really liked the idea and and was really on board with trying to use funnels in his business. So I created some funnels for him. He liked the way they looked. He liked, how I approached marketing. He liked the concept of them. And so we started implementing funnels, and he was driving traffic to it through Facebook ads, and he was getting better results than what he was doing just by himself. So from there, he expressed to me that he was working on a side project, still kind of dealing with acupuncture. And so we had sat down. He kind of painted the vision for it to me. And so I came up with, basically a game plan of several different funnels. So I initially, based off of the amount of work that I had kind of laid out, kind of went through funnel by funnel, all the different things that were that needed to be built, I came up with a price tag that I thought was reasonable, right? I reached out to some mentors and people, and they expressed to me what they thought I should be charging. And so I brought that number to the acupuncturist. And now at first, he was taken a little bit back by it, right? He wasn't expecting a number that high. And the reason I think that is because number one, the first few funnels I did for him were for free, right? We were testing things out. We were building a case study. And so, just by comparison, anything was going to be much higher, right? And I think another reason is that because he didn't really understand the concept of funnels, he didn't really understand what was involved. He couldn't really have a price tag or a price in mind that he was expecting. So when he saw the number, he was a little taken back. So instead of cutting the price down, right? So he expressed that that wasn't in his budget. So I said, okay, so we'll take out some stuff, and that way, we can work with your budget. But at the same time, I wasn't willing to just slash my price and say, okay, well, I'll do the same amount of work for less money, right? And that's something that I don't think you should do either, right? You should stick and be firm and value your skills. So I took out some parts of the project. We settled on a price at $5,500. Now, understand that that isn't just for one funnel, like one funnel page or one two-page funnel. That was for about 4 different funnels, right? All dealing with the same kind of, in the same business, but handling different aspects, different audiences, and so on, and making different offers. So $5,500, it was great. I was excited, and I got to work, create a contract, and I got things going. So once we got the project going, I realized that I wasn't getting all the information I needed because it was brand new to the person. And so I kept on having to wait for answers and waiting for that person to keep, they had to do stuff in order for me to keep going. So that was a bit frustrating because, for me personally, I like to have everything up front so that I can kind of get in the zone and the mindset and just knock it out. But when things are spaced out, it's hard to kind of come in and out of that process. And, you have to kind of refresh your memory each time as to what you were doing and things like that. So the initial time that we allotted was about 3 weeks to complete the project. All right, so the 3 weeks came by, and we were probably halfway done because again, had I had all the information up front, I could have knocked this thing out and it would have been great. But because I was just waiting for information to trickle in, it just kind of stretched out. And then what had happened was, things started going on beyond the 3 weeks. And because it was my first major funnel project, I really wanted to make sure that I did a great job for this client and that I was, making sure that I wasn't leaving anything, no loose ends. I wanted to make sure I was doing quality work and not just being like, oh, well, we passed the 3 week mark. That means we're done. I just need the rest of my money and you're going to have an unfinished project, right? So I wanted to make sure that we did finish the project, but again, it was just getting longer and longer. And unfortunately, it went on to about, it wound up taking almost 2 months to finish, right? And not to say I was working full time for those 2 months, but it's, like I said, was just stretched out in between. And that just really made things difficult to, keep having to go back and forth and coming back to it. So basically, the mistake I made was not being more firm with the what was entailed, because what had happened was we pretty much did the most of the project, and then he just kept asking for little things and little things. And now I'm not saying that it's his fault by any means. They're going to want more. Clients are going to see different things, or you might see different things that you didn't think of before that are going to require some work. But the biggest key takeaway is to make sure that you set boundaries and you have an understanding of, a deadline and that you need certain things done by a certain time so that you can do your work and you can do it in a timely fashion, and that anything beyond is going to be outside the scope of the project. So, that's one thing that I've heard about and I didn't really understand was scope creep. A lot of freelancers talk about it, and it's basically where, additional work just kind of comes into the project. It creeps in, right? And it's just more additional work for you that you didn't account for. So it takes up your time, which, could basically cost you money from doing other things. So I didn't really set a hard kind of boundary with that because, again, it was one of my first clients. I wanted to make sure that, we were on a good relationship where our communication was open. And if he asked for something, then I was, more than willing to do it just to, appease him and make sure that he was a happy client. So that was probably one of the biggest mistakes, that I made personally. And again, something that I have to learn moving forward. Hopefully something that, you can take away from this experience in this story is just to really be mindful, right? Build in a buffer for, some extra time. Let's say you think it might take, a week, add in a couple extra days. Make sure you put in constraints or restrictions on, how much extra they can ask for, right? So maybe you say, hey, our project is finished. You have 4 days to give me any sort of critiques or feedback or any changes you want. After those 4 days, anything else is going to require additional money, right? And that's really not to be, rude. You really have to protect your time. Time is the most valuable asset we have, and it can easily be stretched out to, oh, hey, can you do this one thing for me? It leads to another, and before you know it, you're doing an extra 5, 10, plus hours of work for them that's unbilled, right? And depending on your skill level and your rates, that could be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, all right? So again, it also comes down to opportunity cost. The time you're spending doing this could be time you could be doing something else that is generating you, new business or even repeat business. So, but for my first funnel project, it was a big one. It was awesome. He loved it. He's getting great results. He hit, 5 figures in sales within the first 4 weeks. And so he's doing pretty well with the funnels I create him. And again, it's something that we set up pretty much one time that's going to pay him over or do work for him, for months and ideally years. Maybe with some minor tweaks here and there, but overall, it's something that's really going to make a big difference in his business. So, he's great. He's happy with the funnels. I'm happy with the way they turned out. not only aesthetically in terms of design, it was a great way for me to really hone in my design skills, but also how to build the pages a little bit more efficiently, making sure I have, a whole process that I can go through with clients to make sure that I'm doing everything I need to make sure that they have a quality product at the end that gets them the results that they want, right? Because that's why they hire you. They want, a result. If it happens to be funnels, then that's just the vehicle that gets them from, where they are to where they want to be. All right, so just wanted to share my story here with you guys today. Hopefully it is, you can take away something from it. Again, the reason I got it was by offering some free work. You have to kind of bite the bullet there, especially when you're starting out, to kind of prove yourself, prove your skills, get results, and also build relationships, right? So once you have a handful of clients, you can start to branch out from there and ask them for referrals, or if they have additional work in the future, if you had a great kind of experience, then they'll, of course, come back to you over anyone else. So again, that's how I got my first client. It wound up being a total of $5,500, which was great. But again, that's not just for one funnel. I know some people charge $2,500 plus for one funnel, and even more than that. But again, it was a starting point for myself. And the biggest lesson learned: make sure you build in boundaries and stick to them. Not because you're trying to be rude or mean, but because you want to protect your time and your energy and your business as well. All right, so hopefully you got some value out of this video. Let me know if there's any topics or anything that you want me to discuss related to marketing, funnels, business design, and I'll do my best to create videos on them. All right, so thanks so much again. This is Dan Liu, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Take care.